We are in an amazing, beautiful town in Tuscany called San Donato in Poggio. And that just means on a little hill. And walk with me, because why we're here is that I wanted to explore Tuscany and really get off the beaten path and into parts of town that, oh, this beautiful garden. Take a look. The things you wouldn't ordinarily see in towns you wouldn't ordinarily be in. And so, because I'm trying to envision where my main character would live. I've seen some houses that are kind of perfect, but also a town nearby that you would visit, and this is that is really representative of the best of Tuscany. And this is it. I mean, this town is just so beautiful, and it has this cobblestone everywhere. You can't take a car in this part. You have to walk it. I've gotten more than 10,000 steps every day, which is great. But you just see how picturesque this is. But what's great about it is it's not a stage set. So I'm trying not to talk too loudly. People are living here. And we're here during the noon hour, so everyone's inside. But I am super inspired, and I wanted you to see it, because I think I'll describe it in the book. But it's really, I don't know how many of you will get to Tuscany. I've never been to Tuscany before, except to Florence, the city. But this is so wonderful. This is about half an hour outside of Florence. And I'm going to look at all of these towns to make sure that I know that I'm getting all the facts right and what the character is of the town. But I wanted you to have a sense of it. Look at this house. I mean, this whole street is lined with these beautiful houses, perfectly maintained. The taste is so lovely. It's rustic, but it's not rough-hewn. It's just to die for, honestly. It's just to die for. So I thought you might see it. So I'll take you down this little street and see what's up. Aha, a motorbike. You can get through with a motorcycle, but not a car. Let me peek so we don't get run over. I mean, it's like you don't know what's around every little corner. There's actual people, so we'll. Look at these archways. Like I can't imagine living in such an incredible place that you walk down through an archway. All these little passages and patches. Look at that. Let's go that way. Kind of winding down. It looks like a little road. Look at these. Look at morning glory. I mean, the flowers are beautiful. They say it doesn't snow much here. It's really temperate in the summer. You don't even need air conditioning. You just throw open your windows. Here's the beautiful, be careful crossing these beautiful cypress streets that are so great, so gorgeous, and so emblematic of Tuscany. And you're just learning about the cypress trees and how they've been here since Roman times. They epitomize, not only do they break the wind, as you can see, and shelter the olive groves and the vineyards, but they epitomize immortality. The idea is a religious idea. They grow from the ground to the sky. And you can see, I mean, this could be 100-year-old trees. They're unbelievably tall. And they line the cemeteries for that reason. And they're all throughout Tuscany. If you see that, you know exactly where you are. In Italy, you're in, actually throughout Italy. But there's something about them in Tuscany that is pretty amazing. Oh my God. I love Tuscany so much. I had never been throughout. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me begin at the beginning. So I'll tell you why Tuscany mattered and why I was in this incredible town called San Donato in Poggio. So the unraveling of Julia, briefly, is the story of a young woman in Philadelphia who talks like this, and she gets one day, she inherits a villa and all this money in Tuscany from a woman whose name she doesn't recognize. Now, this woman, Julia, the main character, is adopted, so she doesn't know her birth family. And she's like, well, why would this person leave me like millions of euros and a villa unless we were related? And I guess I've got to figure out what this mystery is all about. And so she goes to Tuscany. That's the idea I have for the book.
I get my little butter on the plane. Well, not so little, but then I go to Tuscany, right? And my first task is to find this setting for the village in the book. And basically, long story short, I do a lot of research. I ask a lot of people, and then they give me lists of places where people go, and then I don't go to any of them because I don't want the places where people go. I want the places where people don't go. I want the most authentic, non-touristy place. And I end up in the Chianti region, which is where I set the book, in this amazing, amazing town. Let me show you just a few more pictures because I think the key thing that I really want to tell you and not waste your time about is that what I'm trying to do when I do this is that I'm going to find stuff that you can't find anywhere else. What about this place is unique? Now, you really see it in the video. I'll come back to it later, but here's some little touches. For example, the little religious thing, grotto on the side, right? Just this beautiful, by the way, you're walking in Tuscany. You see the aesthetic is what I was trying to say. It's tasteful. These people are not wealthy, but they have taste, right? You don't need money for taste. You just need to have an eye and a soul. And these people have it. So here's you're in this lovely town, and you just happen to be walking in the lovely town and you see a sculpture. Oh, I don't know why it's there. It's just a normal little town, this beautiful sculpture of a ballerina. Every door unique. Look at this door. I took so many door pictures. I'm not going to bore you with them, but I love doors. You should see my doors, hot pink, my favorite color. Be also walking up the street, people, you get a sense, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but there's a collective here, right? The flowers you put in front of your house are on the street, like on the street. So they're kind of everyone's flowers. Look at these beautiful flags they put up. It was part of a little competition they have that dates back from the Renaissance. The town existed at the time of the Romans built it. It's very medieval, as you can see. Here's another sign. See the little flag? Every street had different ones. Some were red and blue, some were green and white. Here's this little walk. You see how narrow this alley are. All along it, besides gardens, are things like this. Orange trees, right? Smells so fragrant. I remember I wrote a book about Sicily, loyalties. You could smell lemons. You could smell the orange. You know what you could smell also by there? Rosemary. I can't even tell which way this goes. Rosemary. You know how really aromatic rosemary is. Can you imagine walking by this on a street? Just your normal street. Incredible. Also beautiful. It's everyone's. It is yours, but here's another beautiful little door to a B&B. And I knocked on the door because I wanted to see what a typical house was at. And here's the guide. It's called Del Giglio B&B. So if you go to San Donato, stay there. Such a nice man. Beautiful church. And this is the view when you leave. I'm going to hide me so you can see this. Did I hold it up right? Yeah. I mean, to die for. What's the point of all this? So as soon as I get there, I'm completely inspired when I go to this little town. You see what it's like. Now, the top line of this, the most superficial explanation is I'm going there to find a setting for a novel, right? And that is in fact true. But it's much more than that. It's inspiring because the setting has implications for the plot of the novel and the character. For example, I told you that this woman, Julia, goes there and she's trying to figure out who left her all this money. Well, it turns out the woman who left her the money turns out to have some mental issues and kind of be very reclusive and actually believe that she has delusions of grandeur. The woman believes that she is related to Caterina Sforza, a famous Renaissance duchess. So the woman believes she's royalty. What's the implications of the setting for that? Well, imagine, let's say, what happens in the book, I'm not giving away any big plot points, that this woman who believes she's royalty goes into this town because she lives right outside of this little town. And she goes into the town, as everybody does, to buy her cheese, to buy her bread, to buy her meats, to shop for dresses. She is haughty. She is bitchy. She treats everybody badly in the town. When she goes to the grocer, she slaps the grocer's daughter. Now, imagine doing that in that town, because you see how narrow that passageway is. It's not a passageway, it's a street. Until I walked it, and I lived in Philadelphia a lot of my life, so I know what it's like to live in urban settings. But this is the ne plus ultra of urban setting, because even though there's no car and hustle bustle, in fact, there's quite the opposite. There is proximity, there is closeness, there is actually something that is typically Italian, which is intimacy. Pause for a second to understand that the geography and the terrain creates that intimacy between people. Your neighbors can hear you fight. Your neighbors can hear your television. I'm walking down the street trying to whisper because I can hear their conversations. And if I spoke better Italian, I would have understood them. That is intimate. When you grow up in that kind of atmosphere, you probably don't have like big walls about you because you're not really used to a lot of privacy. You all know each other. And that's what happens when this woman, fictional person, goes into the town and slaps the grocer's daughter. Everybody hears it immediately, physically hears it, a shouting, a yelling. What's that about? They come running. And the news is all over town, all over town. And so that's the first thing that setting gave me, an intimacy and a reality about village life. What would it be like to live there? There's about 700 people there, really. Here's a perfect example of the thing I wanted to show you next. Here's the little cafe in the town. Do you see that little guy? Meanwhile, like, I would date this guy, but that's another matter. Because he sat there for we were there like 4 hours, almost 5. He sat there the whole time reading. I'm like, I might love you. I might be in love with you, friend. I mean, that's what village life is like there. That's what life is like in that town. And so you start to have a plot element. Oh, wow. If this lady does a mean thing, she's going to be like our version of canceled. But their version in San Donato is, we never want to wait on you. And soon this woman in the book is so abusive, really, to the people in the town. She can't even come to the town and shop. She has to send her housekeeper in. So that setting gave me a character. It gave me the action, and it gave me this whole thing all at once. The other thing the setting gave me, which is in the novel, again, not giving anything away, is that when you live in that close proximity to people, you all rise together or you all fall together. As I said, they all go to the same school, the kids. They all go to the same church. They're Roman Catholic. The church is right there. They all know each other, and they're all actually almost literally in the same boat. That is really interesting for a thriller, because if you're going to have a threat in that town, the whole town is threatened by it. The whole town could be terrorized by it. If there is corruption, I don't want to give anything away, but everyone is affected by everybody else, and nothing goes unnoticed. It's not just small town where people talk. It's small town where people live on top of each other. And I would not have known the implications of that if I hadn't gone there. So that's why you do the research, and that's what you learn from it. You go there and you start to see and also there's just an emotionality. I mean, I still look like crap in these videos, and because I had jet lag. I'm just telling you, I can't believe my eyes in these videos. But I was like, I was just amazed being there. It was so beautiful and so rustic. And at the same time, the best part, and the part I want to mention too, you feel how quiet it is. I mean, there's people live there, but it's quiet. It's kind of still. You don't hear much noise. The pace is unhurried. You can't drive a car through those speeds, so you have to go slow. The geography of the town dictates the way of living there, doesn't it? All right. If you live in a town like here, or Lancaster Ave, big street, going through. That is going to be a different style of living than that town. And I needed to understand that for this novel. And I used every bit of it. And so it was really, really great. And I wanted to really show it to you because I think, Jackie, looking forward to see you in Bryn Mawr too, because you might never get there. But if you do, it's off the beaten track, San Donato and Poggio. And I highly recommend it. It's in the Chianti region. You can drink Chianti to your heart's content, and you will be so happy. Okay, now what we do after I talk a little is that I wanted to mention a lovely blurb because the quotes are coming in about the books, about The Unraveling of Julia, and I got one from Karen Slaughter, who's one of my favorite authors. She is, if you're watching the Will Trent series on TV, it's terrific. If you've read her Will Trent books or any of her other domestic thrillers, they're really wonderful. She loved, if I can say so, The Unraveling of Julia, and she said it was a compelling thriller with dashes of romance and excellent twists. And I love that. And I appreciate that so much because I actually think the twists and turns were also inspired by the terrain because I didn't know where I was going. I got dropped off in the middle of this town. And you see, I'm walking around. Laura's there. She's filming. I'm like, let's go over here. I don't know, but you can't see around any of the corners. And when I was there, I said to myself, you need to write a book that is so twisty that you can't see around any of the corners. And I swear to God, that little map of San Donato and that twisty turny place is in this book. So I was really happy that Karen pointed out the twist. I wanted to take a second to promote her new book, which is This Is Why We Lied. I just think she is a terrific, terrific writer, and she's a really cool lady. So read her and watch Will Trent on TV. It's one of my favorite series, and it has a chihuahua. I mean, it's got a dog in it. Mysteries with dogs. Does life get better? You just need pasta. That's all. You're fine. Okay. Thank you again very, very much for being here. And I'll see you next Monday night. Come back and we'll show you another video and have more fun. I really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you very, very much. I love you very much. And I appreciate your love and your loyalty and all your support. Take care till next week.